You want two fingers or
No,
one
I
finger
don't.
point?
I don't want
Do you want
two
me to
fingers.
gesticulate
Scouts
to
honor.
the back of the plane with four fingers?
Can we talk about that?
What?
How
Scouts
the
honor?
Swifties think that Scouts honor is a finger bang reference?
Thank God.
Yes, let's start there, everyone.
Let's start there.
Welcome to Two Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it. And they're all putting up three fingers.
Wow. Adventurous.
It's in the Travis Kelce. I think it's in The Alchemist, I think. But or it may be in a high school song. But I'm like, yeah, Girl Scouts is three fingers, but Boy Scouts is two.
That
Were you in the Boy Scouts?
No, I was not.
Were you
I
in
was
the Girl Scouts?
I was actually, Michael. Yes, I was. I was a brownie. What an odd choice for the like. Before you get to be a Girl Scout, you have to be a brownie. Is that right? Did I fuck this up? Am I imagining
no, that's right.
things?
That's correct.
What the fuck?
But I mean, much like before you're a Boy Scout, you have to be a Cub
Scout. That's right.
Yeah.
They didn't have
I
anything
tried
like that.
Cub Scouting.
Yeah, I did not. But like, so brownie, Girl Scout, Cub Scout, Boy Scout. Okay, so why didn't the Boy Scouts have like a weird like? Okay, so before you become a Boy Scout, you're now a turdlet. You're a turdlet before you're a Boy Scout.
Yeah,
you're a brownie
yeah.
as a Girl Scout. You're a turdlet as a Boy Scout, pre-Boy Scout, pre-Boy Scout.
Well, now here's what's interesting: is originally the girls were called Rosebuds.
Ew.
But they were renamed by
that's
Lord
gross.
Baden-Powell.
Oh.
After the girls had complained that they did not like their name. And so the name comes from the story The Brownies by Juliana Horatia Ewing, written in 1870. I don't think that's any better,
Is any of
but
this-
that's what it is.
Welcome to today's uncomfortable childhood talk.
That may sound like I made that all up, and I may have because it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, there was something about like there's some like I love Wikipedia, and I love that there's people that have dedicated their lives to misinformation on Wikipedia. You know,
Yeah,
like
to
there's like
fucking it up.
just fucking they're wearing their Descendants patch on their leather jacket and a giant A anarchy symbol in the middle and the back, and their plan to take down society is a misinformation campaign on Wikipedia.
That brings up something interesting. So I have a friend in London who wrote an article. I don't know if it's in The Guardian. It's coming out, but it's basically talking about the death of punk music.
Ooh, interesting.
And that punk
Go on.
music is completely dead. And that, like, even underground punk music, that there
interesting.
is no counterculture punk music,
Oh.
to be, whether or not you call it punk and it's three chords and the truth and guitar or whatever, or
Yeah.
if it's electronica, whatever it is, that one of the things that society has wrought is no more counterculture music.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to Spotify to listen to punk music. And because punk music was really based on a whole lot of DIY and they couldn't participate in record stores. They didn't participate in the radio. For the most part, I mean, you got Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys and all that. But like for the most part, it was very underground. And that the underground scene, like it used to be like if you threw an underground party in a warehouse for like a bunch of punk bands, and it got busted up, well, everyone disperses like cockroaches and
the light came on. And
no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Now it's like a $1,500 fine. You could go to jail and
Jesus.
yeah, like it's a pretty big deal.
Of all the things we should go after, go fuck yourself. Jesus.
Well, and he's making the point that a lot of it came out of fashion because younger people these days absolutely associate all punk music with like white supremacy. Whereas that was absolutely a strain of it. That like that's like they think that even if they touch that guardrail, they'll be seen as racists.
Yeah. And especially considering the visibility of social media and all that kind of stuff now, you know, it's like it makes sense that there be a little bit of fear of that. But,
yeah, if you're not really doing flyers, if you're not really doing posters and stickers and word of mouth shit, it's pretty hard to promote a punk show.
Yeah.
Hey, check out my Facebook page and let me know if you're going or not.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
Hey, John, did you do a big advertising campaign on Meta for Instagram for our punk show?
Yeah. Yeah. And, what's funny is I think you and I have had this discussion, like even like in Film and Sync, like when we were dealing with like I've had a couple of metal bands in my life. What they wanted the metal music for was a drug den scene or them busting a Nazi camp. Like that's it. It was like that's kind of what the culture is associated the music with. And it's unfortunate because there's some really wonderfully, like there's a lot of the culture in punk and hardcore music was actively against that. And it was all about inclusivity of the weirdos and the outsiders and the outcasts.
Yeah. And I mean, taking down power.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, what a great time to have a punk band.
Yeah.
But apparently not. No fans.
Do you think Green Day was really the nail in the coffin there? Because
maybe.
What's funny is like you know how much I love Green Day, but the pop punk movement was one of the things that we definitely put that type of music. Even though it was like the bands that those guys grew up on were these counterculture revolutionaries to a certain extent, and so. But to the way that they took it became this mad, like somebody saw the commercial viability of Green Day. And I still think that American Idiot's a fucking prog record personally,
Yeah. I mean, I had such a problem with that because I grew up in a time where punk sort of weaved its way over metal.
Yeah.
So when I was like super young, 13, 14, I was in a few like metal cover bands. This is like the earliest days of Metallica. And so we would be playing like Metallica and the Hard Van Halens, things like that. And the other bands on the show would be playing punk music. So like it was all in one. And there would be a big fight between the metalheads, which were long hair, jean jacket wearing motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Acne, a lot of acne.
Motherfuckers.
And then you got the other guys wearing like bomber jackets and Doc Martens and skinheads, shaved heads.
Yeah.
And like it would work for a minute, and then at some point when there was like a mosh pit.
Yeah.
And then things would get a little out of control.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I was kind of touching both sides of those rails where I was a huge Black Flag fan. Yeah. I was a huge, I liked Sex Pistols, Black Flag.
Yeah.
And a bunch of those kind of bands like from back in the day, Dead Kennedys, of course. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Bad Brains, Fugazi, all that kind of stuff. But I did not like the Ramones, nor did I think they were punk.
Yeah.
I thought it was pop music.
Yeah.
But
with guitars.
Then a little bit later on in the 80s, everybody started being like, oh no, the Ramones are punk. I'm like, the fuck they are. Same thing with the Clash.
Yeah.
And I know the Clash have a catalog back there in the 70s that is more punk. Yeah. But I mean, I was all like, Sharif, you don't like it, Rock the Casbah. When I saw the Clash, I was like, fuck you, this isn't punk. So my little, 14-year-old head was like, that ain't punk. So I was always about, that ain't punk.
Yeah.
And because I also was that way with metal too, then it comes on to Bon Jovi. I'm like, that's metal.
That ain't, yeah. It's funny because the punk thing for me was always, I remember there was an interview, this is the least punk rock thing I could say here, but it was an interview with Madonna many, many years ago where she said, I never thought I was that great of a singer, but I always felt like I had something to say. And I felt like that was more punk than, the guitars were fucking out his tune. Sid Vicious is the worst bass player.
Worst.
If you ever watch any footage of the Sex Pistols playing from the 70s, it's fucking bad. Oddly. But it wasn't about that. It was about what they had to say, and they were fucking just like so anti everything that was going on in the UK at the time. That was what they were doing. And of course, you know, the rebellious part of teenage kids, that part of you that says, fuck you, dad, I don't want your life. I don't want your life is the part that gets into that, you know? And it becomes this thing that lives in you. Even like later, like even like take something like you're a Wu-Tang fan. That is punk too. To a certain extent, with regards to like how the attitude is presented. It has nothing to do with the style of, you know, like it's, you know, a guitar player, bass player, and a drummer, and they can barely fucking play their instruments. It was all about like the it was anti-establishment kind of shit, you know?
I mean, Beastie Boys started out as a punk band.
I fucking love Beastie Boys.
And like that early Beastie Boys stuff, like when you go back in the archives, that's true punk shit.
Yeah. Rick Rubin started out as a punk producer in punk.
Yeah.
Was he a drummer or I can't remember what he was.
So it is weird though that like it is something that is gone, I think. But yeah, my problem to bring it back to the point of Green Day, my problem is when Green Day hit, I was like, of course, I was a little bit older and so a little bit more wizened and a little bit less. That ain't punk. Fuck you. I don't care. I won't listen. I was more like, well, this isn't punk, but I like it.
Yeah,
like it's poppy and I dig it and it's fun and it's also got a little bit of sneer to it. And you know, and when they're talking about, you know, masturbating all day and stuff, I'm like that's kind of cool, you know. Flip the bird to society and basket case and you know that kind of. And I mean, like Brain Stew, when that came out, I was like, everyone's doing speed to this song, right? Yeah. Everyone knows that you're doing speed to this song. Yeah. Like that's what it is. And so it was like a new way to do punk. And then of course then it goes into sort of Blink 182. Yeah. And that sort of thing. I was like, okay, well this just absolutely is no longer punk. Bad Brains was a big one for me. Bad Brains was just HR, get better soon, buddy. Circle Jerks. I mean, a lot of people consider Nirvana punk early.
I would say so too. Again, the whole idea. Dave Grohl is still the best musician in the band, but like you know, like Kurt's aesthetic was very much based in that. I mean, I like when I was listening. When
he just unfortunately wrote too good of songs to be a punk artist.
Yes, Well, I mean, like for me, it was like Nirvana, Ned's Atomic Dustbin, and the Dead Milkmen were like 3 tapes. Cassette tapes that lived in my rotation on the regs, you know, like just these bands that like were like kind of good but kind of not, you know. But we don't have that anymore with the advent of the home studio. I can make a great sounding record, but if you have any type of OCD or ADHD or anything like that, and you can nitpick the fuck out of something and not have any timetable and have no label involved and are just fucking around in your basement, you can actually make a great sounding record, and the aesthetic of punk is gone unless you actively put that in place, saying one take, fucking knock this out. We are going to just scream into the microphone about how much we hate our parents, and that's the song. And we're putting it out.
Hey, producer, can you put on the 4-track emulator?
Fuck. Yeah, and that's it. You got one mic on everything. Foss.
Or a Vestax.
I've got a buddy out in Nashville. If you don't have enough
money for the Fostax, get yourself a Vestax.
Yeah. I got a buddy out in Nashville that just picked himself up an 8-track tape thing, you know, with the 4, or I think it is an 8. No, it's a 4-track. It's a 4-track. And he's like, he's just been fucking around. He's making bouncing, and the decay
that you don't remember this, but you had to turn the tape. The tape on the other side had the other 2 tracks.
Yes.
So if you flip the tape over, you would just hear the other 2 tracks backwards.
Yes. And it was glorious. But yeah, he's been fucking around with that and making some really cool stuff.
That's cool. All right, happy 91st birthday to Willie Nelson, motherfucker.
That's right. Still punk.
Still punk.
So last week, speaking of the metal,
yes,
I went to a concert of Dwarf Metal.
Dwarf
Metal. By the way, I took. Okay. We took the ladies' nieces, who are about 4'6" each, and threw them in the front row of this fucking Dwarf Metal show. It was fucking awesome. So,
okay. All right. We got to frame this.
Okay.
So Michael is stupid.
No, Michael is not stupid. But Michael, I heard I did start an argument between you and your
I've
person.
argued with not just you, but other people as well in my household, including my cat, about this.
That's why he's so pissed at you.
Stu says, I'm going to a Dwarf Metal show. This is on like a weekday at a theater we know well, probably 1,000-seater, and they have sold the fucking place out.
Sold the fucker out.
And I'm like, awesome. Dwarf Metal, are they regular sized people?
Are they actual
I'm like,
size?
Are these little people playing metal? Okay, I'm thinking Mini Kiss.
Yeah, but Mini Kiss doesn't actually play.
Okay, but they tour. Yes, they play. They don't play?
No, I thought they were cardboard instruments. I might be completely wrong on this.
I don't know. I haven't seen them. I just know people get pissed off if they buy tickets to the Kiss show and they're like, what the fuck? But anyway, so Dwarf Metal, I was like, are these little persons? Are these little people? And playing metal. How fucking cool. Because I see, so Stu sends me the video. He's like, you got to hear this shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like riding into battle, pulling your sword out.
It is power metal.
It could work on any trailer.
Yeah.
It could work on video games. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, like all that kind of shit. But
it's awesome.
And then the voice comes in and it's not rah, rah, rah. It's actually good, like heavy metal singing.
Yeah. It's
right?
Yeah, it's got something. But they also do the gang vocal where they sound like a bunch of dwarves digging a mine.
Okay, but I can't discern if these are you're tall enough to ride these ride people, okay? Like, that's the way I put it. So I think dwarf, which is, I don't know if that's the right nomenclature.
Let's go with dwarf, the Tolkien-esque with a V-E instead of F.
Okay, so I'm arguing, like, are they little people? And Stu was like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Gimli, this is Tolkien dwarfs. I'm like, okay, I get it. But those are little people. Compared to all the other people in Tolkien, other than the hobbits, which was pointed out to me, the hobbits are under 4 feet.
Yes.
But dwarves are also little people. That's where it comes from. No, you don't understand. Dwarf music is like what they would play in Tolkien. These kind of warriors would play that kind of metal. And I'm yelling at someone else about this argument while I'm texting you at the show. I'm like, but there is no fucking metal in Tolkien. They don't actually play instruments, so it doesn't come from that. And I would think that dwarf metal needs to be played by dwarf-like people. Mm-hmm. And what you explained to me is that, no, it's the aesthetic of the dwarves from J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Playing metal. Like, it would make sense that they would be Viking-ish kind of metal people. And I'm like, but again, Vikings they can ride the ride. They're over whatever.
Yeah. By the way, I would like to point out.
So they're not little people.
Well, hold.
I had to give it up, apparently.
You had to give it the goat on
little people. But I'm looking at like definitions of dwarfism. Because someone told me, they were like, well, little people aren't dwarves. I'm like, they are literally dwarves. It's dwarfism is the name of the thing. We don't say the M word, right? We don't use that word.
Magi.
But no, that's not the one. It's the one that rhymes with Gidget. But we don't use that. I've known some little persons, and like they know that it kills me. So it's dwarf metal, but they're not little people. And if I showed up, I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" Okay, so go ahead. Now we know how stupid Michael is because everyone but me understood this concept.
Understood the assignment.
I'm like, no, they're just little people playing metal. No, apparently not.
But I would also go see that show. I really fucking would. I want to hear that. I want to hear a dude with like a 1-foot-long leg do a blast beat on a kid-sized drum kit. Yeah, I want to fucking
Richardson.
see that.
I want to see Brad Richardson. I want to see him do that.
Baba Booey on a drum set. Anyway, just kidding. I'm Stu Miller, and here's the thing. Okay, first off, the bass player was a Viking. He was a giant, sexy man, hair down to his waistline, fucking and fucking like literally like mind digging songs, a lot of 12/8, a lot of like that kind of fucking vibe. The guy who's the lead singer kind of looks a little bit like a Tolkien-esque dwarf, right? So he's a little shorter. He's a little bit rotund. And here's the thing I fucking love about this. Number one, the band's called Windrose. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It is exactly what you think when you watch like a video game set in the Middle Ages. The music you would hear playing while they're fighting with a battle axe on a battlefield against the Balrog of Morgoth. You're welcome.
For Christ's sake. I'm like, this is more orc music than dwarf music. All right, go on.
No, it's not, because it's hopeful
Orcs
and
can't sing.
Orcs clearly can't sing, nor can they go out in the sunlight. So it's fucking big symphony. It's like, imagine Dragon Force, but with them singing about going to battle, with their kings under the mountain and digging a mine. There's a song called, their biggest song is called Diggy Diggy Hole. And dude, I watched 1,000 people with inflatable fucking pickaxes just pretending to mine shit together, like pulling the thing back and swinging, and we had the best fucking time. Like, we were all jumping up and down and going crazy, and fucking there's inflatable
And what
things.
was the age group at the show?
Oh, anywhere between, I would say, the youngest with us was 14. And there were men of my age there and older. There were 50s and 60-year-old men, and they were there with their kids, and they had these giant shit-eating grins on their face. They were having a great time bonding with their kids. It was fucking awesome.
And was it like Gwar? Did they dress that way
They
too,
did,
or were they
indeed.
wearing Nirvana shirts?
They
and ripped
they were
jeans?
dressed like Gwar, kind of like somebody else compared them to Gwar the other day as well, because of the aesthetic, and they had like epic storytelling in between and great like sound effects, like a God of War kind of vibes going on, right? A video game style. And then they play these kick-ass metal songs. A lot of, and they had an opening act as well called Xandria, and they were great. The lead singer was very sick and kind of singing. A lot of backing tracks. I noticed that as an aesthetic. I noticed, I think most of the drums were triggered because they were very consistent. And I don't. It's the vibe of the show. You go and that's what you want. Like when I go see Slipknot, I want Slipknot to sound like Slipknot, and just fun as fuck. Not too long. It was a 90-minute show. They had a whole opening, salvo of they're Italian too, so they again got passports, got on a plane. Dude, the lead singer, as I said, is a little shorter, big old beard, looks like a dwarf, sorry. But here was the thing, is he had this great metal voice, clearly well-trained, jumping up and down, leading the crowd like a fucking motherfucker. And then he would unload these Pavarotti-style tenor high notes and just mow the front 12 rows over. And it was awesome. And every time he did it, I was like, fuck yeah, I want to hug you right now.
Yeah.
It was really
it sounds
fun.
great. I listened to Diggy Diggy Bop, whatever that's called.
Diggy Diggy Hole. Diggy Diggy Hole, yes.
All I can think of is Cantaloupe. Diggy Diggy Bop, yeah. When I saw that, all I could think of was Diggy Diggy Bop. But Diggy Diggy Hole, I did listen to it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And I think that the show is amazing that it's happening.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the new punk.
Yeah.
Dwarf Metal. And by the way, so another friend of mine, when I was arguing this out, I had to call a friend. It was like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I was trying to call a friend. And so I called another friend because the person I was arguing with in my house was on your side.
Yeah.
But they are also a fantasy sci-fi novel kind of person.
Yes.
So I called a friend and they're like, well, how tall was Dio? God damn it.
That is a great point.
And it totally made sense to me. I was like, okay, but like, my problem isn't with dwarfs.
Yeah.
My problem is with it called dwarf metal. Why don't they call it Viking metal?
I would also like to point out
Norse metal. Why is it just called dwarven metal?
There is pirate metal. There is Viking metal. All of these things exist, and they're all based in the lore of that quote unquote people. Like, you know,
well, pirate metal are all shanties. I know that. I've seen that.
Hear the ale storm. You know, like, and this is also all these are the things that are like. I also turned my son onto some of this stuff, and he went, "This is fucking awesome," you know. So he's really.
I could just see how, like, if I was 15, I would be like, "Fuck yeah, dude, we're going."
So,
dude, we're going.
And there's a few other bands, and you know, we basically declared to both the young ladies who were with us. I said, if you go in the pit, ladies, you must make sure that you don't come out with any bloody wounds. Because otherwise, your parents will never let us do this ever again.
Yeah.
And the only way that we, as, you know, over 40-year-olds can get into the show with any type of, you know, reasonable, you know, facsimile of saving face is if we take the nieces with us. Because we can't go as adults on our own. Right. Otherwise, you know, it's like, what the fuck are the old people doing here?
Yeah, why didn't you take care of my child?
And we've also decided we're going to dress up the next one. So, but I would like to. There's a fucking story I just remembered.
Dress up as a shorter person?
Fuck yeah, going full dwarf. Thanks to our buddy Bob Rupp for years and years of dwarf entertainment.
Those are very good. So it is Windrose.
Windrose,
Hole. If you would like to check it out, they are the number one dwarf metal band.
They are
in the
amazing. But here's
they also do have Drunken Dwarves. They have that song.
They do have that. There was a great Tolkien story that I remembered while I was you know, going down this rabbit hole with you, which was when he was writing Lord of the Rings, he had the term dwarves in there, Dwarves, and his editor, Tolkien's editor, sent it back to him and said, "Dwarves isn't a word. You can't use that. Doesn't agree with the Oxford English Dictionary." And he goes, "Show me where." And he says, "Why?" He goes, "Because I wrote the fucking dictionary, you asshole." He didn't say it like that. Probably did it with a pipe in his mouth and probably had some really beautifully acerbic, underhanded way to say it, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But basically, Tolkien wrote the dictionary and was like, "Go fuck yourself. I wrote it, so I could do whatever I want. I understand language. You do not."
All right, so there you go.
There you go. Windrose.
Go check them out.
They're fantastic. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I would like to bring up something for the older folks in the crowd.
Okay.
That I thought was really interesting. We don't have to spend much time on it.
No, but go for it.
Members of the greatest rock bands of all time.
Ooh, okay.
Have released new music in the last year.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't make you feel bad and get on your ass to fucking record and get something done. These are all people over 70. In some cases, way over 70.
Yeah.
But just think about it. Members of Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. Robert Plant with Saving Grace.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones have a whole new album, Hackney Diamonds.
Which is really good, too.
The Beatles had a new song.
That's right.
Paul and Ringo.
Yeah.
You know, actually worked on it together. I mean, it's clear that George and John didn't, but AI, what's up? And then also David Gilmour dropped a brand new one, and he's got a new album coming out in September.
Which I really like.
Luck and Strange. And it's a great song.
It's a great song.
I like the David Gilmour stuff.
Yeah.
If you like the solo David Gilmour, you're going to like this. If you liked About Face, Out of the Blue.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other one. There was one that was like 2017. But anyway, David Gilmour has a brand new thing out. But I just found that interesting that like Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, like Rolling Stones all have new music out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Those are all bands from the 60s.
Yeah.
You know,
in
some cases, maybe a little bit earlier. But
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just found that was fascinating, and it's something to pay attention to.
Yeah, and the thing I love about those records is everything that you mentioned there. Take the Beatles one, kind of put it aside with some of the AI elements.
Yeah,
you know,
like they come faking that one a little
bit. But the Gilmour record in particular, that new single, "The Piper's Call," I think it's called. Number one, Steve Gadd on drums. Real fucking instruments, real, like, you know, like it is a warm, organic, beautiful sounding record. Beautiful sounding track. It's a, you know, it's a longer song. It's got a nice juicy Gilmore-ish guitar solo on the end of it. On a Les Paul, I might add.
I know, I noticed that.
You noticed
that?
Like, oh. Yeah, I noticed that too, and it's a fucking gorgeous guitar too.
Gibson.
Yep. But you know, really great song. The Robert Plant stuff, just fucking beautiful, warm. Again, this return to great performances on a definitely done on an analog console. You know, just beautiful, warm, like take you back. Put it on vinyl. Put it on your living room with a good preamp and some headphones. You know, some good headphones, or on the big, you know, your giant ass Klipsch speakers. They're designed to be listened to, you know, in a big warm environment.
It is listening music. Yeah, absolutely.
And I absolutely love that. That's a thing. And again, we're getting to this. We've got this, you know, this. You've got your pop music that lasts 2 weeks, and then you've got these deep listening things, you know, that are starting to come out too from these artists that have known how to do that.
Also, for you Pink Floyd heads, Piper's Call, a little callback to the Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which is the debut studio album of Pink Floyd in 1967.
I also noticed
before
that,
I was born. I know people gasp way before I was born.
I'm aghast at that. I didn't know. I didn't think you were born. I thought you just spontaneously burst into existence.
Well, I'm known by a lot of names. I've been around for a long time. The Dark One.
The Dark One. The thing that I thought was cool about...
Allow me to reintroduce myself. Sorry about that. There's a little Rolling Stones stuff.
We can't get the rights to that. No, it's just the cool thing is if I remember correctly, I did read a little bit about the Piper's Call, that he did have some keyboard parts from Rick Wright that were recorded before he died in like 2007.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So like again, fucking cool shit like that happening, man.
It's cool.
I love it.
Meaningful stuff, and I think it's good.
Yeah. Anyway, I love it.
Here's something I would like to bring up. We're not going to talk about Taylor Swift. We're not going to talk about Beyonce. We're not going to do that.
What kind of fucking podcast are we doing today?
I know. No clicks for us. I realized something yesterday that I really wanted to bring up with you.
Okay.
That, you know, everyone's saying who's having like the best year in music.
It's me.
You know, Beyonce, it's me. God damn it, Taylor. I know a lot of people would say Taylor Swift, she's broken all the records. We're getting numbers out. She did match Jay-Z on the #1 albums, blah, blah, blah. We'll probably talk about it later when she does, when she fills the top 10 singles next week. So we'll talk about that. And the Eras tour's kicking back up. Here we go. But anyway, I realized something, and I wonder if you agree with me. Here's who I think's having the best year.
Who?
Post Malone.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, you got Beyonce with this huge album. I'm changing to country, kinda. I'm doing this stuff. I'm fucking around with everything. One of the singles on there?
Post Malone.
Levi's Jeans.
Yep.
Post Malone.
Yep.
Co-written, by the way. Not just a feature, co-written.
Yeah, exactly.
Biggest album of the year at the time, right?
Yeah.
Then the next biggest album of the year, Taylor Swift.
The first single,
First fucking single, lead single, co-written by Post Malone.
Yeah.
And a feature on it.
Roadhouse.
Okay, this goes back. I wanted to say, so I took a look at it. And this goes back to like last year.
Yeah.
With an album called Austin, which was the Diamond Collection. Chemical was his last official single. He's been on a little bit of a tour. Remember about a year and a half ago, he fell off the stage, broke his ribs.
Yeah.
And this is like right after he had kind of lost the weight. This is where this all starts.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this. That album was basically to celebrate the diamond certifications that this motherfucker has. Okay?
Oh, wow, yeah.
A diamond certification on a song is a song that's gone platinum 10 times.
Jeez, yeah.
Only 125 songs in history have been certified diamond, and 24 artists have multiple songs on that list. And guess who has the most? Post Malone.
Jesus,
has the most
really?
With 8.
I did
followed
not know
by
that.
Bruno Mars with 6. So he's even eclipsing Bruno Mars.
Wow.
Yeah.
No idea.
Then he comes off of that little tour, like that little stint with this Diamonds album, the Diamond Collection, and he sings America the Beautiful at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, loved it too. I know a lot of people did not, but I loved it.
Then he stars in Roadhouse and has a song in Roadhouse. He's going to be in the WWE 2K24. He's going to be in a video game as a wrestler.
Heck yes.
Then he gets on the Levi's jeans with Beyonce. That gets released. That's a huge thing. Yeah. Then he's on the feature single for Taylor Swift, Fortnite, which, by the way, co-writer with him and Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff, all right?
Yeah.
The most streamed single in one day of all time. It will probably break all those records for a long time to come.
Yeah.
He is part of that.
Yeah.
He's part of that. Yeah. It's not just Taylor.
Yeah.
He's now part of that little history thing there.
Yeah.
And of course, in the background, he's been set to take over country as well. Mm-hmm. Right? He comes from a hip hop background. Then he started doing some grunge stuff.
Yeah.
Started doing some. Now he goes into R&B and pop with Beyonce, and then into full-on pop with Taylor. And now he's set to take over country. This last weekend, he's playing Stagecoach.
Yes.
He goes and plays Stagecoach. He comes out and he says, "Good evening, Stagecoach. My name is Austin Richard Post." That's his real name.
Yep.
"Cheers, motherfucker." And he takes a slam out of his red Solo cup.
Yep.
And then he proceeds to play 11 covers and brings out Brad Paisley,
Hell
Sarah
yes.
Evans, Dwight Yoakam. Then he joins Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
And has a collab for "I Need Some Help," which he just put out that they're working on this single. It's actually a pretty cool song.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen, a little problematic, but goddamn it, Stagecoach loved him. Mm-hmm. So he is poised to take over country now too.
Yeah.
And Stagecoach loved him.
Yeah.
And so I'm just
nice.
I gotta say, altogether, my pick for the person kind of ruling music right now. And for a lot of you, people are like, why is Post Malone with Taylor Swift? Or like the people of Beyonce fans are like, what the hell is this with Post Malone? This is why. This is why. He has taken over some shit. He's got the bona fides. Ever since he stopped drinking, apparently he is just sort of like so cool to work with. And a creative force, a very cool guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, holding it down for Utah.
Yeah.
He lives in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an original motherfucker.
Yeah. I love that this is one thing I've always loved about him, is the fact that he just seems to do what he loves. He doesn't, he's not following any path. He's he's covered in tattoos from head to toe. He's doing what he wants to do. Literally. He's when he's drinking a beer on stage, he's not drinking Cristal. He's drinking fucking Bud Light. Excuse me. He had that massive song in the Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
He also
Sunflower.
was in Spider-Man.
Yep.
Did you know that as an actor?
As the animated one or one of the newer ones?
He was in Into the Spider-Verse with the voice as Brooklyn Bystander. And then he was also in...
Across?
I think he was in... No, I guess it was just both voice on that. But he was in. He was also in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Fantastic.
As a voice.
Just doing the stuff he loves. I love it. I just think, and did you hear him last year? I think it was around Halloween time. There was a video from, I think it was from Sirius or something like that. He had a full band and they covered "Them Bones" by Alice in Chains. Did you hear it?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, again, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to write this great song over here. I'm going to write this great song over here. I'm going to work with this person over here. I'm just going to be a fucking cool guy, and I'm going to go work with cool people. Great. Sounds awesome. Let's do that. Fuck, I love that.
I'm also going to give you a little bit of inside info here. There's some, I think it's probably going to be out by now, but he's also in a movie that's coming out, I believe it's this Christmas, called Dear Santa.
Oh.
With Jack Black as Santa.
Oh.
And
Fantastic.
The log line is a young boy accidentally mixes up his spelling and sends his Christmas list to Satan instead of Santa.
Fantastic.
So,
that is the most Jack Black.
Keegan-Michael Key and Jack Black. I believe Keegan-Michael Key is playing Satan.
Fantastic.
That's going to be it's a Farrelly Brothers film. It's going to be a huge, huge hit, I think.
That looks.
I think this might be a new Christmas classic.
No,
in the making
Jack Black is listed as playing Satan. So does that mean
he might be playing Satan and Santa?
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm into that.
Who knows? Yeah.
We've also got the that sounds lovely. Speaking of which, everybody get to fucking writing and recording your holiday song, please. Thanks.
That's right. Get pre-production right now to record June.
Yep. I literally just sent an email to somebody about that yesterday. And they were like, what? But it's April.
Exactly.
I was like, yeah. Get it fucking done now. But I can't think about snow when it's sunny outside and I'm drinking tequila on a patio.
About drinking tequila on a patio in the snow.
In the snow, yeah, exactly. Ooh, I would listen to that song. Or how much you miss sitting on the patio drinking tequila while you're staring at the snow. There you go. We're creative people. Let's fucking figure it out.
All right, let's lock it in and let's get into Sing of the Week. We're making a little change here.
We're flipping
Sing of the
bird.
Week is coming up here in the middle section.
Yes.
Would you like to go first? Because I went off about Posty. So
no, I fucking loved it. I love Post Malone, and I thank you for that because I've kind of always felt like I might be in the minority amongst my friends for loving him. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really get it at first. I get it now.
Excellent. So I start. You're going to be very proud of me because I watched
I'm always proud of
two new pieces of content this week. I started Palm Royale, which is fucking great, and I started Conan O'Brien Must Go. My son walked in yesterday and said, "Dad, this show is fucking hilarious and we must watch it." So we all sat down last night and watched the first episode, which he hadn't seen because he'd only watched the second episode with his mom. And it is set in Norway and it is fucking hilarious. And there's a kind of a feature piece throughout it that he does with a band called Ada. And the song I'm choosing as my sync of the week is Velkommen til klubben, which is Ada featuring Conan O'Brien.
Is that a Swedish band?
That is they're Norwegian. They're Norway, and they're pretty well prominent in the episode. I couldn't find a supervisor on the show in the IMDb pros, but I figure that it'll start showing up eventually once they get all the credits lined up and stuff like that. But it is a very fun song, and we got done watching about 9:30 last night, and all of us in the house were singing the Conan chorus in particular. So it's catchy as fuck, and it's really fun, and the way that it is played is really, really, really great. So that's a Velkommen til klubben, EDA featuring Conan O'Brien from Conan O'Brien Must Go is my sync of the week.
That is awesome. I love it. I am watching a show called The Sympathizer on HBO.
Yes.
They're trying to bring Sunday nights back on HBO. And, I'm not going to say the other name. I'm not going to do it. It's on
The Cock? Is it The Cock?
No, it's The Cock to the Max.
Oh,
the
Max,
Cock to the
Max Cock. Yes.
But it is literally an HBO show. But it's The Sympathizer. And it's based on a book that is basically about the fall of Vietnam during the Vietnam War and what's going on with the CIA. Mm-hmm. And this guy who's in South Vietnam who actually is working for the communists, he's kind of working both sides. He's working for the CIA.
Interesting.
He's working for the communists.
Yeah.
So it's based on this book. This is one of those shows, I'm not sure whether I like it, but Robert Downey Jr.'s in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he is playing like 5 different characters. And
fantastic.
I mean, in full makeup kind of stuff.
Excellent.
Sandra Oh's in it. She's fantastic.
Excellent.
There's a few people that are really good in it. So this is season 1. It's just kind of getting started. You can catch up. Mm-hmm. It's episode 3. Episode 3 starts out with I Want to Do Something Freaky to You by Leon Hayward. Now, if you don't know what that song is, that is the beginning of Nothing But a G Thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. So it's that song. But so it starts with that part, that drop, right?
Yeah.
Which is from the original sample from Nothing But a G Thing.
Yeah.
And that is this song from 1975.
Wow, yeah.
Called I Want to Do Something Freaky to You by Leon Hayward. And it's a car driving down a street in L.A.
Yeah.
And you immediately, if you're of a certain age, you think, oh, my God, Dre, Snoop Dogg, like, I know this song, you know. But at the same time, when you know that it's the actual track, it still feels L.A.
Yeah.
And then it feels 1975. So it matches everything perfectly. It's a brilliant drop to use that original sample.
Yeah.
I know very few people are going to know the original sample, I think.
Yeah.
Most people are going to be like, oh my God, they used a Dre song or a Snoop song.
Yeah.
But it's a great drop. It establishes LA. And if you go back and you find it, then you're like, oh yeah, I guess that would be 1975 in LA. And these are Vietnamese driving in a car in LA. And so it's kind of interesting how it drops into the scene. Great job. Rebecca Reinks is the supervisor on it. She's done a whole bunch of stuff for like HBO and stuff.
Nice.
But anyway, it's really good. It's the Sympathizer. And if you want to hear that original track, it's a great R&B in the grand tradition of mid-70s R&B sex soul.
Yeah,
I want to do something freaky to you by Leon Hayward. It's super fucking fantastic.
Excellent. When you saw the car driving down the street, do you see the drive? Because I'm curious, because I don't remember the video for Nothing But a G Thing. If it does feature one of them hoopties rolling down.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because I think it's like Snoop on a bike with the chick.
Yeah.
In the braids. And there's like a green hoopty getting bumped.
Yeah.
At one point.
I was wondering if because me immediately I hear that drop and I'm going, it's the Dre Snoop thing. And I'm seeing a hoopty roll down Ventura.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what the fuck is this now? Like, is this 1995? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, I love that's played
immediately, I will tell you, because I'm, a hip hop fan from that era.
Yeah.
I immediately thought Compton. Like, I wanted to scream, City of Compton. Like, I just immediately wanted to hear Nate Dogg spit on it. I knew and it hit unless Nate Dogg spit. And so, it was a brilliant drop for the time. I would think that most of the people watching this show, maybe some of the younger people wouldn't know it, but I think most, I don't know, that's a huge hit. They played the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably know that song as a classic.
Yeah.
Ouch, ouch, as a classic hip hop song. It's an oldie.
Yeah.
But it did. It immediately I thought, L.A., hoopty, they're in a car, they're in L.A. It totally matched.
That's fantastic.
But then you go back and you're like, oh, it's 1975, not 1995. Or, whatever. So, yeah, it was
fantastic.
It's a great drop and fucking great job by those
fantastic.
people.
I love it. Excellent choice, sir. Excellent choice.
Yes. All right, we're going to get to a topic here on the music business side.
Oh, dear.
Yes, and this is a rough one to deal with.
Oh, no. Okay.
All right, this is for all you songwriters out there. All right. I don't know if this guy is listening or not. I feel really bad about it, but I kind of don't. But here's the thing. I get, and I know Stu gets this too, and so I want to hear your point of view on this. But sometimes I get a pitch from somebody that is, I want consulting on songwriting. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a huge band. I have a bunch of songs, and I want to write songs for artists.
Okay.
And can you help me? I do a lot of songwriting, judge things for a bunch of different organizations. It's probably where this came from, although I'm supposed to be anonymous. But like a lot of times I do those judging contests where I listen to hundreds and hundreds of songs and give my feedback for free. And I am notorious for giving pretty harsh feedback when it's warranted.
St. Jamesing it.
Yeah. Because... And this is because when I was a young songwriter, I don't want you to fucking waste my time.
Yeah.
If I'm not there, tell me. I'm not sending you something when it was me. Yeah. I'm not sending you something for you to tell me I'm great.
Yeah.
I want to get better. If you really want to get better, that's what you're looking at is not criticism, but critique, right?
Yeah. Tell me how I can make this better. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're asking me, I'm gonna tell you. If you think that it's fantastic and you don't need any help, then why are you asking?
Yeah.
And Stu and I do the same thing back and forth with people we work with too.
Yes.
We'll just go back and forth with what do you think about this? And sometimes you have to parse out the song versus the performance versus the lyrics. In some cases have to be thrown out in some cases, then versus the production, whether it's a demo or stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy wanted to basically he wanted some consulting on songwriting to write for artists.
Yeah.
Well, that's not actually what you want because you don't know how it works now.
Yeah.
And here's why. The world has changed. You can't just write a little ditty and put it on a cassette tape and send it to big publisher and have like some big artist pick it up and go, oh yeah, I want to record that song. That may have been the case in the 70s and 80s, but it has not been the case for a long time. There kind of is no such thing as a demo anymore.
Yeah.
There is, but it's not what you think it is.
Yes.
It is a demo of a song you're writing for an artist is damn near releasable.
Yeah.
It just may not have some sonic flavors on it. If it's country, if it's rap, if it's pop or whatever, you may need some extra things there.
Yes.
It may not have as many layered vocals or as many layered solos or top lines on it, but it is recorded and produced, and it has all of the vocal structure. It has pretty much everything. And so I was sharing with people like what Ryan Tedder's demo of Halo sounded like.
Yeah.
What 14 fucking years ago. It's nearly releasable.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't sing it very well, but it's nearly releasable as a production. And like that was 14 years ago, you guys, for Beyonce.
Yeah.
And so so first of all, if you're trying to pitch major artists as a songwriter, that means you need to know how you either need a producer or you need to know how to produce on your own. So that's one is the end result, right? One is demos don't really exist anymore.
Yes.
You're going to need to make it pretty. So I get a bunch of songs that are out of tune guitar, shitty vocals, lower recording, lo-fi.
Phone demos. Phone work
some
tapes.
Of them sounded like a cassette tape demo, dude. Like you put up a boombox and recorded.
Yeah.
That ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
And then let me tell you the 3 rules he broke. My 3 rules, and a lot of people on the publishing side's 3 rules, a lot of people on the producer side's 3 rules. And that is this. These are they. Never use Google Drive.
Yes.
To pitch someone music. Do not use it. We can't scrub right. The playback doesn't work well. It's the fucking worst. Use Dropbox, use Box, use Disco, use YouTube. Anything but Google Drive. I can't scrub. I can't see the waveform. I fucking hate it. A lot of people do too. And I will tell you, there are a lot of people that are not as nice as me to tell you I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
They will just say, no, thank you. And you won't know.
Yeah.
So as harsh as I sound, just know I'm sounding harsh because I'm trying to give you the good info.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Don't make this mistake. Never use Google Drive to pitch music. Number 2, never pitch more than 2 songs. Never, ever, 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 ever pitch more than 2 songs. Those 2 songs, by the way, should also be diametrically opposed.
Yeah, they should be different.
Big fucking song, small fucking song.
Yeah.
Fast song, slow song. Big country song, weird fucking electronica song. If don't make them the same.
Yeah.
All right, so this guy sent me 24 tracks on Google Drive. Then, okay, so you can hear from Stu's laughing. That is not
That
allowed.
is not, no.
Again, most people wouldn't be as nice as I was to rip him on this.
Yeah.
And they would just say, thank you, no thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you. Here's the third part. Always have lyrics on those 2 songs. And that includes the IPI CAE numbers. If you do not know what IPI CAE numbers are, then you are not in this industry and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You should at least know what that number means. It's a number from your PRO. It actually stands for Interested Parties Information or Composer, Author, Publisher.
Yeah.
All right. This is PRO. These are PRO numbers that you would get.
Yeah.
And it proves that I know that you're on BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC, or if you're, from somewhere else in the world, that you're on SOCAN or you're on PRS UK, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't seriously think you're going to fucking pitch a song to be picked up by a major artist and not be a part of a PRO.
Yes.
I can't touch that song. We can't even talk any further. It's never going to get to the producer. It's never going to get to their publisher. It's never going to get to them. You're out. Mm-hmm. You're not serious about being a songwriter if you're not in a PRO. You just aren't.
Yeah.
You can argue about whether they're good or bad for artists. You can argue about whether or not you have to as a band. But if you want to be a fucking songwriter and play songs with other artists, you are out if you're not in a PRO.
Yeah.
Again, most people would have just been, no, thank you. Thank you. But I had to tell this guy all of these things. And I feel really bad because I feel like he got all that back and was like, okay, I'm sorry I did everything wrong.
Yeah.
But he did everything wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he was hoping that I would find some diamond in this 21 song rough that I would be like, you know what? This is really good. It's not really good. I don't care whether or not you can write one line good. I don't care whether or not you have one good chorus.
Yeah.
Like, because the fact is all these songs are going to be edited and rewritten and the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So do you have any comments?
I have a
about
lot of
songwriting
comments.
pitches?
I have a
Yes.
lot of comments about this because it also happens like it's happening for you from the music supervisor, songwriting coach kind of perspective. It happens the same way as a producer. Because there's two things that happen. Number one, the reason somebody sends that amount of stuff to you is they're trying to get you to do something for them. Right?
And they're trying to impress you. Look at my catalog.
Look at my catalog.
I have these and many more.
Yes, and I would like you, and aren't I great? Don't you want to help me? Don't you want to do this for me? Don't you want to give me the keys to the kingdom because I've showed you how fucking... Here's the thing. We don't have time. I don't have time to go through 20-something songs. I actually just sent out an email to a potential studio client that was similar. Send me 2 songs. I actually, with the type of band I was going to work with, I actually asked them to record a video of it and put it in Dropbox. Yeah, so I can see them performing it. So I can see them performing it, and I can actually then watch the musicians in the band and go, that guy's going to need my help. That guy's going to need. So I'm looking at it from a different side. But the same thing happens. I had to say to somebody, do not send me this. Do not attach things to an email. Do send me. I know. I just felt you just shiver. Like again.
Oh my god.
And
I turned people into the FBI for that.
You also turned me into the FBI for the one time I called you without texting first. It's like, but there's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of ways to go about being professional, right? And first of all, Michael is doing you a kindness right now by telling you the things that you should be doing before you reach out to people. Now, if you're reaching out to us to get validation and be told that you're pretty and you're already good, then you're fucking wasting your time. Because if you already think that you're already there, fucking go for it. Have at it. Get to you don't need people like us.
No.
Right? But if you are reaching out from a perspective of, I want to be in this industry and I want to work, and I was like, I would reach out to you. I still reach out to you sometimes and go, tell me what I'm doing wrong here, because your opinion in this industry matters a lot to me. And I know I will get an honest and valid response. I won't get, fluffed. I won't get told that, it's great, fucking go for it. I'll get told, hey, this part's really good. I don't like this. Is this person singing with their mouth closed the entire time? I'm going to get, some feedback about performance, production, decisions I'm making in particular, which is what I want from you. I want to be better at what I do. And if that's why you're reaching out, that's the conversation you should start with. Don't send me 25 fucking songs and say, look how good I am.
No, I think the thing that people need to realize, especially when they're starting out, is that some of us that do this all day long, you've done it for so long, you're just in it. Like, you can Google this shit.
Yes.
This is not new. And you could talk to anybody and find out that. And you know what you could do? You could even email me and go, hey, I'm looking to do this. How would you like it?
Yeah. Ask the question.
Maybe I may not answer that, but I might.
Yeah.
But the point is that if you take the littlest amount of care about your, like, I know that you're nowhere near getting into the industry on the level you want to. The other thing is we had this conversation about, like, you want to be a professional songwriter. I'm like, okay, how often do you write songs? He's like, well, I write maybe 2 or 3, a year or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's not it though. Like, if we get into consulting, you're going to start writing for a week.
Yeah.
You will eventually get to every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your life sustains that. I don't know if, like, it's going to cost you money, and I don't know if you really are in the position in your life to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not just writing them, right? It's the same thing in Nashville.
Yeah.
You got to write them, and then you got to do a demo.
Yeah.
And the demo, the reason why you use session players is so it's really good.
Yeah.
Coming off the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, so what you're actually asking for is production help, pre-production help, songwriting help, pitching help.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes all the way. It's not just writing the song anymore. So
I agree.
yeah, I felt bad that I ripped him. I didn't rip the songs. I did. I said, maybe you should read these 3 books on songwriting.
Yeah.
Because no fucking surprise, the songs weren't great either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a diamond in the rough situation, and I knew that immediately. I did. I clicked through a few of them, just to see. I mean, my business is songs.
Yeah.
So if you are, I wouldn't have worked with him if there was a great song there.
Yeah.
Because I know he's really far away. But like, that's the whole point. Is that like, I just dismissed it out of hand, but I took the opportunity to tell him.
Yeah.
In a long kind of email about, like, here's the fact. I can't touch this. You're not in a PRO, and I know it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I can search that on Songview, on all the rest of it.
All the time.
Like,
every day I'm doing that. Yeah.
It's the first fucking thing a lot of us do.
Yeah.
Is I search your credits, I search your PRO, I search your stuff, I search what I can do that in 5-10 minutes. Just like when we do artist audits. If you tell me what your project is, I can pretty much tell you what your project is.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear it. I can tell you everything.
Yeah.
About what kind of capacity you're playing. I can tell you how many songs you've put out. I can tell you, I can do all of it. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. And the other thing is I can also look at, like, if you look at your PRO, I can also see which artists, if you've written songs just for yourself, or whether you've done co-writes, or whether you've done, like, you can see all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking to get into that, get your shit together and get on a PRO.
And by the way, you can get into it just by getting into it. Go co-write right now.
Yeah.
Put that song on a PRO. Drop that song on Dropbox. Or put that song up on DistroKid. Now you're a co-writer. Now you have songs that are out.
Ta-da.
Like, if you have no like no footprint at all, and you want to place your song with an artist, well, you're just so far away. Even really great songwriters are working with veteran songwriters, and they can't get the credits.
Yeah. And I mean,
they can't get the placements either.
The other thing is I know, I don't know how much you do this, but I still do this. I still ask for input from people, songwriters I trust and producers I trust, on the things I'm creating. I'm really good at it. You're really good at it. But if you write something, you're like, hey, I want some feedback on this.
Yeah.
And I think that is okay to ask for that.
Absolutely.
But get your shit together. And don't send me 30 fucking songs.
It's like personal A&R.
Yeah.
It's where repertoire comes in. It's where, like, someone could be like, and like in the conversations Stu and I have, and I know a lot of producers, song people have these conversations all the time because I know some of them too. And so what you're doing is you're just trying to gather where you're maybe making a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, some of it's good. That's great. I don't need to know that. I need to know, like, where am I maybe missing a little bit?
Yeah.
And is there, like, sort of an outside idea? I don't need you to help me write a line. I don't need you to pick a note. We all know how to kind of do this about the idea and the process.
Yeah.
Maybe try this, and that leads you on a different road. And you're like, that unlocked the bridge. That was the way to go.
Yeah.
And, like, so when you guys hear about this of, like, oh, they're asking for advice on a song, it isn't necessarily replace this word with that. It isn't co-writing. It is more in, like, the concept of it. And, like, where is this going? And you usually have to, there's usually kind of a little conversation that happens like, okay, what am I listening for here? Am I listening for production?
Yeah.
Am I listening for performance? Am I listening for song structure?
Yeah.
Like, what do you exactly want here? And then that's where you give, really pointed advice, 1 or 2 lines, and that helps.
Yeah, and this is a little bit ahead of where Michael is talking about this particular artist came to you from. But again, the first things first, if you want to be a songwriter and you are not associated with a PRO, it ain't gonna happen. And you know,
it could if you're a personal writer.
Yeah.
Like if you're an artist writer, maybe you don't need BMI or ASCAP.
Yeah. As long
you want to play in the game, though. No. You're out.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with a few people about like, how do I write songs for other people? And it's like, again, if you want to be a songwriter, you have to be a songwriter. I got a friend out in Nashville. His name's Corey Lee Barker. Corey Lee Barker, he writes 5 days a week, 3 or 4 songs a day. I've nicknamed him the Hallmark King because he does have, he's probably going to have 10 or 15 placements in Hallmark movies around the holidays. It's what he does. And so every single day of the week, unless he's on vacation with his family, he has got a catalog of 15 to 20 songs a week. The man writes 3,000 songs a year. Yeah. Co-writes, solo writes. He's fucking just doing it, and he loves it. And he is an absolute badass. He asked me a couple of questions a few weeks ago about PRO stuff, and but I feel compelled to call him out because if you follow him on the Instagram, you will see how many fucking songs a professional songwriter writes.
Yeah, and I consider myself a pro songwriter. Yeah, but professional songwriters, you're down on the row. Yeah. You're in writing groups with Universal, with Warner, like those guys and gals. Yeah. I mean, that's all you do. It's all the time. It's every day.
And you love it.
It's just, I mean, my life doesn't even match that right now. I wish I could do that, but I can't get to that level. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm telling you, I can get you to those people. Yeah. But I know some of those people, and I'm like, you're nowhere near. Yeah. You go into that co-write, and they would kick you out before the coffee was done. Because you would have to do. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of you know this. A lot of those co-write sessions have a sign-up sheet. Yeah. You literally are told about a house, 9 a.m., show up, bring your guitar, blah, blah, blah. You go in, there's a sign-up sheet. A lot of times you have, they'll check your PRO right there at the door. Yeah.
It'll be on the sign-up sheet.
That's not really the case, but it is, they already know, right? They already know. You already, you're not going to be able to fly in from Denver for one day. And so, these are major people that do this shit. They already know. Yeah. And so when you're wondering why no one's getting back to you, it's because maybe no one's told you. Never use Google Drive. Never pitch more than 2 songs. Always have your lyric sheet with your IPI and CAE.
Yep. Fantastic.
Whoa. I'm just dying in your arms tonight.
We can't get the rights to that.
Let's wrap this sucker up. That's enough for this one. Yeah. Hey, everybody, check out StuMillerMusic.com, StuMillerMusic.com for so many good little tips and production learning. You can help write songs. He will also help you mix, and he will produce your record. But boy, you need to sign up. Yeah, you got to sign up.
Gotta get in there. I'm busy right now. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
Super busy, but this fall's coming. Yep. You never know. Remember to rate and subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Leave a hilarious comment over there on the Apple Podcast. We don't have any that have made it through right now, but that's okay. You can follow us everywhere you follow people. 2ShotsMusicPod. That's the number 2ShotsMusicPod. And you can also email us 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. We also want to give a big shout out to all the YouTube people. We really appreciate you over there on YouTube and all of the comments. And also, a lot of comments on the Instagram Reels this week.
Oh, very nice.
Woo, people hated me about Lana Del Rey and also Michael Jordan and Taylor Swift. But I appreciate all your comments.
Stand by it.
It's all right. That's okay.
Stand by it.
Stand by it. We'll argue in the comments. And until we talk to you next week, we hope you write a great song and never pitch more than 2 and use Google Drive, you dumbasses. And we'll talk to you later.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Goodbye.